In this video, I want to share my method and full process of making hand-finished buttonholes on a men's bespoke shirt. I will cover everything, from tools and threads up to my personal tips and tricks. So, let's do some proper tailoring. First of all, we are gonna need small and extremely sharp scissors that provide a clean cut with their tips. My personal preference is Japanese Kai N5100. A thimble is a must, because making 10-12 buttonholes in a row without one will ruin your fingers pretty quickly. So try getting used to working with a thimble if you haven't done it already. I find the most comfortable working with needles 3–3.5 cm long. If you prefer longer ones, that is totally fine. It's just a matter of taste and habit. We also need a piece of wax. I have a small variety here. Let's talk about each one of them. The first one is just an ordinary beeswax I bought at a beekeeper store. I use it for waxing dark threads if I need them really stiff, but it is not very suitable for soft and light colored threads we're gonna be using for shirts. Here are two waxes that I got at sewing supply stores online. For all dark colors I mainly use such yellowish wax, but all light colored threads I would wax only with this white, purified one to keep the color and shine of the thread. For those who are curious, the first wax is by Prim, and the packaging of a white purified one looks like this. I don't know what brand it is. But if you could only find dark unpurified wax, you may try using it, but in this case, wax very lightly and carefully because it may darken your light colored threads. And there are also different thread options. You may choose from Gutermann Mara 30, Gutermann Top Stitch, or Silk Twist R753, also by Gutermann. It's not a product placement, you can research and try other brands in 30–35 range. Let's talk about pros and cons of each thread. Gutermann Mara 30 is 100% polyester, has matte finish, very durable, but at the same time rather stiff. It is the cheapest option though, great for practicing on a budget. Buttonholes with this thread turn out okay, but a bit tight and stiff. Gutermann Top Stitch was created for finishing and buttonhole making. Also 100% polyester, matte finish. The thread is also durable, but softer than Mara. Top Stitch is also quite affordable, so it is great for finishing garments and practicing. The buttonholes are more elegant and elastic with this one. And last but not least, Gutermann R753 100% silk has rich and glossy finish. Thread is soft and delicate, but it's rather expensive. For white and blue shirts that I make the most, I have silk supply in white color number 800. If you want even shinier and glossier option, there is color number 102 with touch of golden shade. If you make a lot of colored shirts, you will need a variety of different shades to pick the right one to match the color of the fabric. R753 silk is available not only in 30-meter spools, but it also comes in smaller 10-meter ones. For this tutorial I chose this contrast golden silk color 104 instead of my usual white, so you can see everything clearly. The opening of a buttonhole on classical men's shirt is usually 15–16 millimeters. Mother of pearl buttons come in different diameters and usually have different thickness. So the length of buttonhole opening is calculated easily. Diameter of the button plus thickness plus a couple of millimeters extra for ease. This way you will be able to calculate the opening for any button, but here I have classical 15 millimeters. For one 15–16 mm buttonhole, a 55 cm thread is more than enough. You can try using even a shorter one, about 50 cm or less, but keep in mind that you still need some extra length at the end to hold on to while finishing the buttonhole. Let's wax the thread. You may use these slits, but sharp plastic edges can damage the silk, so I like to take the wax out of the container and use its whole surface. Next, take a scrap piece of shirting and with a hot iron remove the excess wax. Let's make another pass because there is still some left. And the final, third pass. The thread is waxed and ready. If you want to prep thread for the whole shirt, it is unproductive to make each one individually. So here I have cut 5 threads, 110 cm each. Then I wax them all together and remove the excess, also in a bunch. Waxing is important, especially for silk twist. It adds stability and structure to the thread, preventing it from curling and tangling during the buttonhole making process. Cut them in half and get 10 55 cm long waxed silk threads for the whole shirt. Let's talk about prepping the fabric. You can just cut the opening and start stitching a buttonhole. I call it the raw method. But it is rather difficult and a bit unproductive, because layers will shift here and there and edges will fray, especially on Oxford fabrics. That may result in an untidy buttonhole, and we don't want that. If you have only a straight stitch machine, make a frame for the buttonhole using thin thread and high density stitching. So we got a base or frame that adds stability, prevents the layers from shifting, and stops fraying. Here is a small sample of shirt front I'm going to work with. It is a simple flat front or French front placket, and it is just a folded fabric, no fusible or interlining inside. And I will prepare it the third way, my favorite one. I make a frame with automatic buttonhole feature of my tabletop machine. Honestly, I'm keeping this machine only for this reason. As you can see, the frame is almost invisible and blends in with the fabric. It is so delicate because I use a very thin thread, Ceraphil 200/2. You can find a similar one by other brands like Coats or Aman, for example. This thread is extremely fine and resembles fishing line. I have a variety of those in basic colors just in case. Now we can cut the opening. Again, such frames as this one stabilize the cloth, add an inner core to the handmade buttonhole, extend its longevity and durability, And of course, prevent the layers from shifting. Trim the fraying fibers if there are any, and we are ready to make a buttonhole. But before that, I wanted to talk about the thing I call the pace. By the pace I mean the consistency of stitches. They have to be more or less equal in width. Of course, we are humans and not machines, so small discrepancies and imperfections are allowed within half a millimeter range, I would say. Also, the spacing between stitches has to be give or take the same. There should not be substantial gaps. So maintaining the pace when making buttonholes means that stitches have to be the same width and the spacing between them has to be regular and consistent. And it also implies that all buttonholes on the garment should look pretty much the same. And another important thing, if you make stitches rather wide, let's say about 4 mm, your buttonhole can look thick and bulky at the end. And if you make them too small, like 1 mm, everything can fall apart. So you have to train your eye and hand for the optimal stitch width, that is about 2 mm. Start by driving the needle through the opening like this. If you are working with delicate fabric and you are afraid that needle might leave a mark on the front, you can enter from the wrong side. Drive the needle underneath the left side, around 2 mm from the edge, and then go clockwise with the thread around your needle. Before tightening the first stitch, press and hold the end of the thread. Make another one and carefully tighten it the same way. Proceed with making the whole left edge the same manner, maintaining the steady pace. Don't stress yourself over small mishaps, just keep on going. While making buttonholes, I recommend you thinking about something other than stitches. Sometimes, the more you focus on making them perfect, the more stressed you become and it gets in your way. So, try clearing your mind. For example, you may turn on your favorite TV series on the background and just let your eyes and hands do the work. The more relaxed you are, the better buttonholes you get. I decided to make this video without background music. Please leave your opinion in the comments. Do you like it this way or with light background music? Thank you. Before making the last stitch in a row, press the needle like this to make sure there is enough space to fit one more stitch. Drive the thread to the wrong side through the center, right above the opening. make it come out at the left side and make a bar tag. Then another one as close as possible to the first one. At this point, before making the other side, cut off the excess thread. Drive the needle onto the right side through the opening like we did at the beginning. Lightly pull the thread out of the way and make a stitch. While tightening the first stitch in a row, make sure it goes as close as possible to the bar tag, and it also has to be horizontal as the others and not angled. Make sure every stitch is nicely tightened. If one of them is loose, it is gonna be visible and may ruin the perfect look of entire buttonhole. Here I made a small mistake and went too wide with the needle, but it's not too late to fix that. Okay, that's better. At the end of the video I will show you how to fix another mistake, so watch till the very end. Again, make sure the last stitch fits. So far so good. Drive the thread to the wrong side, like we did it before, and make 2 bar tags. Hide the end of the thread between the layers of fabric on the wrong side. If you suddenly made a wrong stitch, like this for example, don't worry, there is still a chance to fix it. Remove the thread from the needle, and with the blunt end of the needle, carefully undo the stitch, trying not to split the thread into fibers, and then proceed with stitching. But this method is the last resort. Don't use it too often, especially on the same buttonhole. The polyester thread is more durable and can handle a lot, but silk can get untwisted and then tangle easily, so be careful. Before finishing the whole shirt, make 2 or 3 test buttonholes on a sample piece to make sure you're happy with the thread color, and it also warms your hands and eyes up, preparing them for the main job. Train yourself to tighten the stitch in one single motion, like this. Don't tighten each stitch individually like I'm doing it right now. Yes, of course, you can fix 1 or 2 stitches this way, here and there, just don't make it a habit. It will significantly slow you down in the long run. So try making a stitch in 2 steps instead of 3. If you plan on making a lot of hand finishing, make sure you have enough light at your working area. You may purchase such magnifying glass lamp, or you can make your own setup by combining a simple ring light with an inexpensive tripod if you are looking for a budget option. And my last and probably the best advice is to invest in affordable tailoring education. If you've always dreamt of learning how to make bespoke tailored garments such as trousers, shirts, or jackets completely from scratch, email or DM me on Instagram to enroll into practical and detailed online tailoring courses. My contact information is in the description. If this video was helpful and you want to support the channel and sponsor buying fabrics for future tutorials, you can do that with Buy Me a Coffee website. I appreciate it a lot. All the info is in the description. And subscribe to my Instagram for more useful bespoke tailoring content. And if you have any questions on bespoke tailoring, feel free to ask them in the comment section. See you in the next one. Take care.